for this dish. As you can see right now, the onions are simmering slowly, but that takes a little bit of time. And it could be any kind of onion. You could use red onion, you could use yellow onions, you could use shallots even is good. But if you like a lighter version of it. So I think this is good. Just remember, you have to be very patient with sauteing onions to caramelize them. Because it takes a little bit of time. Once I get this going. You know, whatever you have, onion soup, when we make onion soup, where does that brown color come from? It comes from caramelizing the onions. The darker the onions, the darker your stock will be, and the more flavor it is. So at some point, you're going to get at the end of the caramelizing, you're going to get all really tired of stirring and stirring. So what you could do to speed the caramelization, you could add about half a tablespoon of sugar. And because the onions were so hot, because it's been sauteing it will make it faster. It will darken faster. So we're going to be sauteing this, and hopefully we'll get that done. I'm going to use that. I am so happy that we're going back to normal right now. Our life, I'm not sure how much normal it is, but every day is a new day. I'm really excited to be back to work. Been quarantined almost 3 months, and it's been pretty difficult for me. A person that's never been home a day in her life actually was really hard for me. It almost put me into depression because I really couldn't function being home. I'm not a home person. So first time in my life I've been home more than 2 weeks. 3 months is a lot. Couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. It was really trying times. But so happy we're back. I'm in my happy element now, and I'm excited to move on to the next step. Restaurant is open. The bistro side is open. We just opened the cafe Monday, and we have all the right directives from the CDC and also the health department. We're complying with all the rules, 6 feet apart, distancing. We have partitions in the restaurant. We have employees every 20 minutes. They have to wash their hands. They have to change their gloves and sanitize the whole place. So we are really, really excited to be able to provide that for our guests and us as well, wearing masks and gloves, and pretty happy about that. I don't know if you all heard about our tailgating. We've been having a tailgating the last maybe 2 months. It's been so popular. What you do is you call in and make a reservation, and you reserve a space, which is very limited, 8 cars total. And you have space for your car, another car space for your friends and for eating. You order your food, and then what we do is we deliver the food to your car, and there you go. So it's really awesome. So it's been pretty popular, and people are happy. It's like a community. So we got to keep doing this as much as we can, and let's see how we're doing with. This is coming to boil. This is the only thing with caramelizing onions, but that's the whole flavor of the dish is the onions. So let those things cook. We will walk to the other recipes, so we'll come back to that. Salt and pepper. I'm adding the salt and pepper in there as well. as we can see, it's slowly starting to show color. Let's start with our Baraka salad. It's always nice to have a non-stick pan because the onions will not stick to it. If you use a regular stainless steel pan, it's gonna stick. So having using a non-stick skillet would be very helpful. Let's see here. Okay, so the lentils are cooking now. Coming up to boil. I'm going to add the rice at this point. And you don't have to rinse the rice either because you want that gluten in there. We have our seasonings already in there. Going to add the butter now. This is about half a stick of butter. You think it's a lot of butter, but it really isn't when you're going to have half a cup of this dish. It's not that much. Wait till the butter melts. And turn the oven on for 15 minutes. We're getting there with the onions here. So I'm going to lower the heat and cook this for 20 minutes. And I have already made some miraculously. This is what it looks like. As you can see, how it absorbed all the water from the dish. This is so delicious and so healthy. And also it's gluten-free.
Questions of
Yes.
from Peanut Gallery here. That is this looks like a big, is this the same amounts that you just cooked?
Yes,
it
exactly the
cooks
same
that
recipe.
much.
Yes.
Wow, okay.
You get a lot. You can't have enough of this. It's 2 cups of rice and 2 cups of the lentils. So.
If you have a small family, is it okay to cut the recipe in half? Or?
Yes. And here's the onions, as you can see. Now, what you can do with the onions, you could chop them up and mix it with the rice. If you don't want to put that on top of the dish here. So this is our first dish. Then what we'll do is we'll make a whole plate out of this. Any questions from the audience?
We do have a few questions.
Yes.
So the first question, is it possible to use different colored lentils?
Different color lentils. What would that be? Yellow? No. This will have to be this type of a lentil because this lentil is sturdier. We use red lentils at the restaurant, but they turn mush after cooking. This would hold itself. Maybe you could use the French lentils. Julia, I think they call it. I can't remember the name. It's a French lentil. It's much smaller than the lentil I have here. You could do that, but I would stick to the regular lentil that we have here.
Okay, and then would it be possible to use a pre-cooked bag of lentils like Trader Joe's carries, or you have to cook it?
Well,
Because
you
you're adding
could,
the butter.
what you could do, you could use the rice pilaf separately and then mix them together without cooking. In other words, if you get the pre-cooked lentil on its own, but then you still need the rice. So you could cook the rice, make a pilaf out of your rice, and then mix the two together and add the onions. You could do that. But, you know, those are all the choices that you have. It's okay, it'll be all right. So now we're going to do is show you how to make our Moroccan salmon blend. This is a spice blend, which is consisting of maybe 7 or different kind of items. First, we have paprika in here. We have tablespoons of paprika. You have this on your website. You have that on your website.
That's the salmon.
3 or 4 tablespoons of paprika, dried thyme. You have cumin, grated nutmeg, ground black pepper, ground ginger, and a little bit of cinnamon. Cinnamon is the secret spice of this dish. And cayenne pepper for that really oomph and kick, and ground allspice. If you don't like any of these spices, you could just take it off. You don't have to use it. So what we're gonna do here, now that we have our spice here, the mixture, we're going to marinate the salmon. Let me get that.
Just a quick question
Yes.
for the lentil, for the lentils, if you wanted to make it vegan, is it possible to use something instead of the butter?
Well, you can buy that balance. There's a
So you
Vegan
use
butter.
the vegan butter and not
Yes.
olive oil. Or something.
definitely, definitely yes. So what we're gonna do here is going to brush the salmon. So we're going to season the salmon. Mix salt, pepper. Always salt and pepper your protein. Then you brush it with olive oil or blended oil, either one, doesn't matter. And you know, salmon is a very fatty fish, so you're using this just so it doesn't stick to the pan. So I'm going to grill this on a grill pan, which is fantastic. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add some of this charbonneau sauce. Just a little bit of that, not too, because this spice is quite strong, so you have to be careful not to overpower it. Okay, let me wash my hands. So I've got my pan already heating up for the salmon.
Did it go off?
Okay, so now you could cook any kind of fish the way I'm doing it now, because grill pans are fantastic. You just get the bottom of the meat really nice and seared, turn it over again, and let it sit for about 5 minutes until it settles down. You could finish it in the oven, or you could just put it back on the fire and finish it down. Let's see how we're doing. Yep. Okay. It has to have that sizzle. So we'll wait here for about a minute or so. In the meantime, check it out to see how it's cooking away. I have it out very, very low. About 20 minutes to be the amount of time it takes. Once the stuff is cooked all the way, turn it off, don't touch it. Do not touch the pot, let it rest. Maybe 15 minutes later, you can toss it and it's good. What I'm going to do is sort of this gets really nice and brown on the bottom, and then we'll show you how to make it grilled more. But it has to be hot enough for us to do that. I'm going to move this in the back. That way we can have some space here. So what we're going to do, we're going to turn this to 9 o'clock position so we can get a nice mark on it. As soon as you get that, you're going to see all the crisp up. You start with it and then you turn it into 9 o'clock position. Now you can do this the same thing with steak, exactly the same way. Make your grill pan really, really hot. That's the key. And once you get that sear, you can turn it again to 9 o'clock position and just cook it until the bottom is nice and seared. And then you can turn it over. See that? How beautiful that is? Now what you can do, you can lower the heat and let it cook. We'll come back to this in 5 minutes. Come back to this in 5 minutes. Very simple way of cooking. Okay. So what we're going to be doing next is the salad dressing and the charbonneau sauce. Let's do the salad dressing. This is one of our most popular salad dressings. I'm going to clean this out. Little mixer here. This is the best thing ever for everything. We have some rice vinegar. We have some garlic, fresh garlic, some shallot, balsamic vinaigrette, balsamic vinegar on it. And I also have some pomegranate molasses. This you can buy at any Middle Eastern market, and they are just wonderful. People are using it a lot these days. And I have some Dijon mushroom. Most dressing must have the element, shallot, vinegar, salt and pepper, and something sweet. Salt and pepper. Yeah. And then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Tablespoons of that. This is organic maple syrup. It gives that sweet and sour part of it. And then again, it's a combination of salad, canola, and olive oil blend. So it's not so rich. I'm going to turn the salmon off now. and let it rest. Okay. This gadget is the best thing in the world. It does so many wonderful small things that you don't need to use your big processor on it. There we are. Let me get a little boat here.
I know you were talking about this as you were mentioning that it's a little harder to hear over the noise. So what is this exactly? What machine is that?
This is just a small little Cuisinart mini prep plus, it's called. It's a little, like a food processor, the small one. Oh. I love this. I use it for garlic, I use it for parsley, I use it for all kinds of small things that you don't want to get the other dirty, the other one. So, up here. So here is our salad dressing for our salad. Okay. Moving along here.
So you said you are letting the salmon rest. I still hear it sizzling. Is it sizzling on its
from the
own?
heat
From the
already, yes. It's the residual heat that's coming from the oven. This is absolutely perfectly cooked right now. Let me show you how that was good. Can you put your hand on this? Do that. Put your hand on it. It's done. That's how fast this cooks.
Perfect.
Amazing. Okay, so with that, what we're going to do now, the final thing on this is the charmoula sauce, which is a combination of shallots, garlic, tomatoes, salt, pepper, little butter, and lemon. It's really, it finishes the whole dish together. So, here. This year will be 34 years since we had Zov's Bistro. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think it would take this long. It has been quite a journey. Appreciate all the support, all the wonderful comments from our local community. We're part of this community, and it's been really wonderful to be able to share our restaurant with all of you. This is something really dear to my heart. Yep. So, 34 years is a long time for an independent restaurant to be around. And this year in July, it would be our 54th wedding anniversary.
Oh, wow.
Believe it or not. That's how long we've been in Orange County. I'm usually from San Francisco. I grew up there. And this is my home now, and I just think it's wonderful. I love Orange County.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
Is it possible to cook the salmon in an air fryer or?
Air fryer. I have never cooked it in an air fryer. I can't see why not, but you have to be careful with the timing. You don't want to overcook it. That's the thing. Salmon should never be overcooked. Never. So I'm waiting for the hot to heat right now.
And then also for the dressing, you mentioned that you use vinegar. Is it any kind of vinegar?
Rice vinegar.
Rice
Rice
vinegar.
vinegar. Again, olive oil and canola mixture together.
Another question about the salmon. Do you use farmed or wild salmon?
Wild. Shallots and garlic always. A little bit of cayenne pepper, just to give you that kick. All you have to do with this is just sort of toss it in the machine. And very quickly. Just until it comes together. Then I'm going to add lemon juice. A little nice zesty. And then a little bit of chopped cilantro. You don't want to overcook the tomatoes. You want them to be very, very crisp with that salmon. So now I'm going to add a little bit of butter to the sauce, along with to just give that final flavor. This is the topping.
So Zov, I'm just going to repeat. That was chopped cilantro.
Yes.
It was sizzling a little bit. They may not have heard that was.
I'm sorry?
It was sizzling a little bit. They may not have heard this while you were chopping the cilantro.
Oh yeah, it's fine. Because of the residual from the heat. Once you take it off the heat, it's still cooking. That's why you sort of take the salmon off, because it's still cooking. So that's all you have to do. So now we're gonna plate it. All done. My plate here. Any other questions? How beautiful. You could add this to fish, on any fish. I'll be back here for you. You can add it to the fish, you can add it to chicken, you can add it to beef, any of the proteins. This is really wonderful combination of flavors to go with it. Okay.
So do you always use a mixture of canola and olive oil when you're
When
cooking?
I'm cooking, yes.
And it's an equal 1-to-1 ratio of the oil?
More olive oil than canola. Maybe 3/4 and 1/4 of the canola, because you don't want it to burn. It has higher point of burning.
Which one has a higher point of burning?
The canola is
The canola.
canola mixing it with what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put the salmon here. Then we're gonna toss this with a salad dressing. In a bowl, I have a bowl here. This is just regular mixed green. So good, so good. A little bit more. This salad dressing is good for a week in your refrigerator, tightly covered. Then what we're going to do is how about that? Isn't that beautiful? Healthy and delicious. This nice food here. Oh, this is nice. There you have it. This would be an amazing dish for a king.
So you can replace that, the salmon, with any kind.
Any kind of fish. You could do
protein.
sea bass, halibut. You could do a whole fish,
Chicken is.
chicken, beef, tenderloin of beef, any of those things. So who's gonna be the brave to try this?
We're gonna fight over it.
Oh, can I have a couple of plates now?
Before we taste it, I'm gonna try and go back and read some of the questions I may have missed. But if I don't read your questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask. So I know there was a question here about balsamics. Can you talk about balsamic vinegar? Are there good ones or bad ones? What do you recommend?
Balsamic vinegar comes in many forms. You can get as old as 100 years old, as old as 200 years old. The higher the number of years, the more expensive, it's more concentrated. So basically, if you want a good balsamic vinegar, the best thing to do is get one from, let's say, Sur La Table or maybe a Williams Sonoma, those places that have all this artisanal balsamic vinegar. Or it doesn't matter, you can also reduce the balsamic vinegar to make it a little bit more palatable. Now, balsamic vinegar, the kinds you buy in the store, is a little thinner. You could reduce that in half. And even lower than half, you could becomes really sweet. Then you could add as a sauce to your strawberries and ice cream as well. It's really amazing. So those are some of the things you can do with also. I hope that answered the question.
And then I think going back to the lentils, how much water do you use to cook them?
For a total of 4 cups, I use 5.5 cups of water.
So 4 cups of lentils for 5.5 cups of water.
Correct.
Is there one type of pan that's best for caramelizing onions?
Non-stick.
A non-stick.
Yes. Now look how wonderful the salmon is cooked. The way we just did that. Look at that. That little bit of onions in there. Some of the salad.
Okay, does anyone else have any other questions that I haven't? Okay, what kind of tomato did you use?
I used Roma tomatoes. Roma tomatoes seem to work best because it's heartier and it's just available all year round without having any issues with the ripeness, with the color and all that.
Did you remove the skin from the salmon first?
I'm sorry?
Did you remove the skin from the salmon?
No, yes, they're skinless. But
Skinless.
Skinless. But if you like the skin, it doesn't matter. You could cook the skin first.
Okay, does anyone have any other questions? No questions.
No questions.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming.